Hello everybody, MischiefWoW again, and we have another class guide. My Druid is now level 85, and we're going to give you a guide on the Boomkin, Balanced Druid, Fluffy Chicken, whatever you want to call it too. Like most of my other tunes, Undergeared just hit 85 a couple days ago, and I'm getting a lot of comments saying don't make a guide if the character's not geared out. I don't need to be geared out to show you guys how to play, I just need to explain the logic behind everything and all that stuff. You don't need to see the big numbers, you just need to know how to do it, so stop hating. Alright, so we will look at our talents. There is some breathing space depending on your mana, because there are talents like Dream State and Moon Glow that you want to take or not take depending on your mana problems by gear. So this character I will show I have talents based on low mana, but you can spec out of them if you want. Nature's Grace gives you a haste buff, that's good. Starlight Wrath, faster casts, that's good. Nature's Majesty, increased crit, that's good. Balance of Power, you're going to get extra damage, and Spirit on gear is going to give you hit. Moonglow, like I said, if you're low on mana, take it. If you're not, don't. Simple as that. Spec it into something else, I'll explain later. Genesis, increased dot damage and duration of your dots. Euphoria, when you're not in an eclipse state, you have a chance to double your solar or lunar energy generated. And when you get an eclipse, you will restore a bunch of mana. Moonkin, or Boomkin form, increases damage, reduces damage taken, and then it gives a raid-wide spell haste buff. Typhoon, a frontal knockback, it's good. Shooting Stars is your proc that will have a chance when you deal damage with Moonfire or Insect Swarm to reset the cooldown on Star Surge and make it to cost no mana. Solar Beam, you can take it if you want. You can spec out of, say, Moonglow or Euphoria and put it into there for interrupting if you need it. It's on a 1 minute cooldown, so it's good for PvP, but for PvE, unless you have extra points, I would suggest not speccing into this. Gale Winds is great for AoE. It's going to increase the damage of Hurricane, which is your main AoE, and Typhoon, and increase the range of Cyclone, which is CC. Alkin Frenzy, from taking raid-wide damage and stuff, you'll do extra damage. Like for the other ones, if you have, you don't need to spec into mana talents, put them into here. Dream State, only take it if you're low on mana. It's going to cause your Innervate to give you extra mana when you use it on yourself. Force of Nature, which is your Trents. This is a good cooldown. Take it. Sunfire, your Moonfire is going to deal extra damage when in a solar eclipse because it's going to deal nature damage. Earth and Moon, your main spells are going to cause them to get a debuff, increasing their spell damage taken. Lunar Shower, this is a pretty good talent, but I didn't have enough points because I need mana talents, so spec into this otherwise. This is only for slowing for like ads and such, so take it if you need to slow. You're also going to have your Starfall. It's a good cooldown, especially for AoE. You're going to hit a bunch of targets within 40 yards of whoever you're in combat with, and they're going to take a high amount of arcane damage. Now into the Feral Combat and Restoration tree. Low on mana, I suggest taking 3 talents on this. Not low on mana, just take 2, because it's going to increase your max mana. And if you're not low on mana, take 1 point from Furor and put it into Blessing of the Grove for the direct Moonfire damage. Natural Shapeshifter is not that great. It's going to reduce the mana cost of your shapeshifting, but what it's going to do is it's going to unlock Master Shapeshifter, which when in Boomkin form is going to increase your spell damage by 4%. And Heart of the Wild is going to increase your intellect by 6%. Glyphs. So for your 3 prime glyphs, you're going to want to take Moonfire for the increased dot damage. Insect Swarm also for the increased dot damage. For single targets, do Wrath, and for AoE, it is Star Surge, because it'll reduce the cooldown on your Starfall. For major glyphs, Starfall is pretty good. Takes 30 seconds off the cooldown on Starfall. The rest are kind of optional. And minor glyphs take Typhoon if you don't want to knock mobs back. But I'm not taking that. But other than that, the minor and major glyphs are not incredibly important. So for rotation, it's pretty easy for a Boomkin. Your mana, like I said many times, can be or cannot be an issue, depending on your gear. Like I mentioned, this tune has only been 85 for a day and a bit that I've actually been playing him for. And I've been gearing more so for Feral Spec, and I may be doing a guide on that soon, so stay tuned. But yeah, my item level is only 300, so yeah, mana might be different. And like I said before, don't troll because I'm low gear. It doesn't mean I can't make a guide for it. So buffs, Boomkin form, or Moonkin form. I'm just in the habit of saying Boomkin. And Mark of the Wild, that's pretty much your self-buffs. So your primary concern as Boomkin is just making sure there's 3 stacks of Fairy Fire if there's no other similar debuff on the target, so that the melee can be dealing extra damage. It lasts 5 minutes, so don't worry about refreshing that too often. Next is your 2 debuffs, Moonfire and Insect Swarm. And while you have your debuffs up, you're going to be spamming Wrath or Starfire and Star Surge when it's anytime it's available, so on cooldown. Your Shooting Stars proc will cause it to be refreshed and be instant, so look for that. The way you know to use Wrath or Starfire is you look right under your character name, or if you have an add-on that moves it wherever it would be. So if there's a little arrow pointing to the moon, you're going to want to hit Wrath. If there's a little arrow pointing to the sun, you're going to want to hit Starfire. So right now it's pointing to the left. You can see it easier once it goes a little further, so now you can see it's closer to the left. If you've been playing a Boomkin for any amount of time past Cataclysm, you're going to know this. So you can see it's moving to the left, and once it gets fully to the left or right, you're going to get your Eclipse, so then you're going to want to start spamming the other one. Once this happens, you'll kind of just know spam one till the other kind of, your other Eclipse procs, and this is where it starts to get pretty basic. My dots are not up at the moment. I'm just demonstrating the Wrath Starfire thing, just so you can see it easiest. So I spam Starfire and Star Surge, and then I'm going to get this Solar Eclipse proc. It's pretty basic. If you understand the concept of lunar and solar power, it's very, very basic on how this rotation works. And then you're just going to want to make sure you have your Moonfire, or when in a Solar Eclipse, Sunfire, and Insect Swarm up. So those are your 5 main things: Wrath, Starfire, Star Surge, Moonfire, Insect Swarm, and then I guess Fairy Fire. Don't really bother hitting Starfall on cooldown. You can get a lot more DPS just by spamming your main rotation. For AoE, I suggest using Starfall on cooldown. Your other cooldowns are your Trinkets. I don't have a macro. I forgot to put the macro on this character, but Trinkets. Your Force of Nature or your Trents. Pop them right near the boss and start hitting them. Innervate's going to give you mana back. I'm not doing an exact rotation right now because I'm explaining everything, but when I would get low, I would use that to get a bunch of mana back, especially with the talent that I have for this spec. And before a fight, if I'm just going to tab out of that target. So say I'm fighting this dummy, and you can place your 3 wild mushrooms right in front of them, so that when they walk over them, they're going to take a bit of damage. I only do this before a fight, and for AoE, I don't really use it for rotation. And if they're near them but they don't happen to walk over them, just hit your detonate and they'll explode, dealing their damage. So really, Boomkin's not that complex. I guess all we have to look at now is stats for the Boomkin. Like most casters, your primary stat is Intellect. You can look at my crappy gear if you pause while I scroll over. After Intellect, you're going to want to hit your spell hit cap, so that all your spells are going to be hitting. Below your hit cap, you're going to want to get Haste, so your dots tick more and you can cast faster, get more eclipses. Under that is Mastery, so that when you get an eclipse, it's going to deal even more damage. And last but not least is Crit. Crit's not fantastic as it was now that eclipses don't come off of crits, but it's not awful, but it's just less powerful than your other secondary stats. This has been fairly short, other than the fact that I cut it into 2 sections and recorded during 2 days, but as far as I can see, this is it for this Boomkin guide. But thanks for watching. Remember to like, favorite, share, subscribe. Check out my other channel, Nerd Films Baller. This channel is going pretty big. It's getting a decent amount of views, almost half the total views of that channel. And I'm going to try and get a TGN or Machinima or Votra Media partnership for this channel, so wish me luck. It might not be for a while. Lowest requirement, I believe, is Votra Media with 700 views a day. I'm getting 130 a day approximately as of recording this. But yeah. Thanks for watching. Peace.